Hey YouTube yoga friends, I hope you are well. I took a little break from filming last week while I was on holiday and I am very excited to be back with you all. So this is definitely coming back with a bang with a full length 60-minute power hour intermediate / advanced flow situation. So if you're down for getting a sweat on, facing some challenges, having some fun, then this is the flow for you. As always, everything I say is optional and I encourage you to make things up, add things on, take things out, press pause, take a child's pose, anytime that is calling to you. And if anything doesn't feel good in your body, then you don't have to do it. So without further ado, we will begin grounding into our space and connecting to our breath. So coming to find whatever version of a comfortable seat is calling to you today. It could be cross-legged, it could be sitting on your heels, lots of different options. So if you can carve out the time for some movement, you can definitely carve out some time for stillness. Finding stillness at the start of our practice to prepare our mind and our body for what is to come. Shifting away from whatever was going on with your day before this practice. Bringing your awareness into the present moment. Bring your attention to all the parts of the body that are connected to the mat. Feeling that connection to the earth, feeling it supporting you, giving you energy, support, stability. Bring your awareness to the parts of the body that are lifting up and away from the earth, so crown of the head reaching up towards the sky, chest shining proudly forwards, drawing up and out through the entire spine. Bring your attention to your breath. Where in the body is the breath travelling? Is it deep down into the belly? Is it shallow in the chest? No right or wrong answer, but just knowing that the deeper the breath makes it down into the lungs, the more efficient the exchange of oxygen and CO2 is. So the deeper we breathe, the more oxygen we nourish our muscles with to help us make our way through our movement. Take 5 deep breaths here, counting each breath in and each breath out on your own. Once you have done your 5 breaths, we will all meet by rolling over on our knees if you were in a cross-legged position, uncrossing the ankles, planting the hands on the mat, spreading through the fingers, stacking shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips and knees, finding one nice long line from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone. And let's warm up through the wrists here, so start to rock your weight back and forwards, keeping a little micro bend in the elbows and keeping the gaze straight down on your mat. Start to take the movement in circles now, going in one direction on the wrists, rocking forwards, back, side to side, and then switch direction of the circles. Just taking it to the edge of the stretch. We don't want to be feeling any pain here. Come back to your neutral tabletop position. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, round the spine. Deep breath in, send the hips and the collarbones up towards the sky. And deep breath out, round the entire spine up to the sky. Fill those lungs, drop that belly, and empty the lungs round the spine. Take 3 more at your own pace. Inhaling to lift the hips and the chest, and exhaling to draw the hips and the chest towards one another. Now either stay with your cat-cow or maybe take the movement into the hips. So starting to take circles with the hips, maybe move them in a figure 8 direction. And if you're going in circles, make sure to take both directions. You might hear some clicking and some popping. That is very normal. Maybe take the movement into the spine once again, dropping the belly down to the mat, then back up towards the sky, this time in a circular motion. Imagining yourself in the inside of a barrel, moving your way around every single edge. Just bringing movement into the body slowly. Plenty of time and plenty of opportunities for more fast, more vigorous movement. Now walk the knees a bit further back, hands a bit further forwards. Snake your way forwards into an upward facing dog or a high cobra, and then press your way back to child's pose. Use your inhale to slide your way through, lift the chest, and your exhale to round your way back, bum down towards the heels. Inhale, snake it through. Exhale, round it back. One more time. Inhale, snake it through. Tabletop position, walk those knees back in. On your next breath in, extend the right arm and the left leg, fingertips and toes reaching forwards, finding one nice parallel line here. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. Draw the knee into the nose, tap knee and elbow, or draw that elbow in towards the stomach. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw everything in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw everything in. Inhale, extend. Hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then reach the right hand around for the inside edge of the left foot. Start to kick that left foot up towards the sky, opening through the chest, the shoulders. You might just kick up a few inches. Your pose does not have to look like mine, and that is true for any pose we do in any of your practices with me. Take another deep breath in, maybe lift even further, and breathe out, release, extend, right arm and left leg once again. Drop the left knee down onto the mat, keep the right arm extended, then inhale, sweep it all the way up to the sky, and start to take big circles with that right arm. Like your arm is the wing on a windmill or a helicopter, something like that, to the back of the mat, and then switch direction of the circles. Once again, inhale, sweep that arm up. Exhale, thread it through, hover. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, thread it through. One more time. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, thread it through, come down onto the right ear and the right shoulder. Either stay here or reach the left hand up and around. Bring the left hand to the right inner thigh, finding a bind here, opening through the chest, through the shoulders once again. Option to stay with either of the options I just presented, or to bring the hands to press together at heart centre, maybe interlace the fingers, then lift the head off the mat so there's no weight on the head and neck, then maybe start to slide the left foot back and lift it off the mat to hover. Maybe you lift the right shoulder off the mat to hover, so the weight is just on the right elbow and the right knee. Maybe even more of a challenge, we hover the right toes off the mat. You might have fallen out, collapsed, landed on your face. That is totally cool. There is no shame here. Another breath wherever you are. And then unravel, unwind, drop that knee back down, place the left hand on the mat. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, sweep the right arm forwards, and this time lift the right leg off the mat. So we've got both the right arm and the right leg lifted off the mat, finding that parallel line. Then reach the right hand for the inside of the right foot this time. Kick that right foot up towards the sky. You might fall out, you might find the balance. Then option to play around with hovering the left toes off the mat. So pointing those toes, lifting them maybe just a centimetre or two as we kick the right toes up towards the sky. Release that leg, extend the arm and the leg out in front, place the right hand down, keep the right leg lifted, lift the left hand off the mat. So we're here on our second side, left hand and right foot lifted off the mat. Take another inhale here, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend, exhale, tap it in. One more time, inhale, extend, exhale, knee to nose, and then extend, reach, holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then reach the left hand for the right foot, kick that foot up towards the sky, swan pose. Micro bending that right elbow so we're not dumping all of our weight into the wrist here. Breathing into the stretch, taking it to your edge. Inhale, extend, reach the arm and the foot back, then drop the right knee down. Inhale, sweep that arm up, and then start to take those big circles with that arm, mobilizing through the entire shoulder joint, preparing our body for what is to come. Now switch direction of those circles. Inhale, sweep that arm up. Exhale, thread it through to hover. Inhale, reach. Exhale, thread it through. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, thread it through. Come down onto the left ear and the left shoulder, and then stay here or reach around with that right hand for the left inner thigh, just intensifying that stretch through the chest. Inhale to create space. Exhale to move even deeper into that space. Option to stay with whichever one of those options feels good, or to bring the palms to press together at heart centre, maybe interlace the fingers, lift the head off the mat, then maybe start to hover the right toes, maybe lift the left shoulder, maybe even lift the left toes to hover, or maybe just collapse into a heap on the floor and laugh it off and know that falling is totally okay around here. As you're ready, unravel yourself, place that knee back on the mat. Inhale, sweep the left arm up to the sky, then extend the left fingertips out in front, lift the left toes off the mat to hover. So we're balancing on the right hand and the right knee. Then reach the left hand for the left foot. Start to kick that foot up towards the sky in our tiger pose. And then maybe you play around with hovering the right toes off the mat, pointing that foot. Inhale, extend, reach the arm and the leg out straight, and then place them both back on the mat. Tuck under the toes, lift the knees to hover off the mat, and hold here, connecting to our core, warming up those key muscles that we will need to support us in some of our more tricky transitions and poses later on. Holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then straighten the legs. Adjust your stance as you need, downward facing dog. So you might need to walk the hands and the feet further away, or maybe closer together. Find some intuitive movement here in your downward facing dog, maybe bending and straightening one leg at a time. Maybe wiggling the hips from side to side, or moving the hips in circles. Finding what feels good. Option to just stay in your downward dog, or experiment with inhaling to sweep the right leg high, then starting to slide the left fingertips back along the mat, reaching the left hand for the inside of the right foot, just like we did in our swan pose, and starting to kick the right toes up towards the sky. You might just kick them up a few centimetres, a few inches, and you might totally fall out of the pose. And we'll all meet back in our downward facing dog. Deep breath in, sweep the left toes up to the sky, then maybe you start to slide the right hand back, reach the right hand for the left foot, and kick those toes up towards the sky, opening through the hips, the chest. Finding our balance. As you're ready, release that foot back down, back to your downward facing dog. I kept dropping lots of things this morning while I was making my breakfast, so my balance might be a little bit dodgy today, but that is totally cool. We just fall out, we laugh it off, we get back to it. So without further ado, let's start to pick up the pace, get moving. Deep breath in, sweep the right toes high. Deep breath out, tap the right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. One more time. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap. Now bring the knee to the wrist, then all the way up to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the nose. Step that foot through in between the hands. Spin the back heel down onto the floor. Make sure the front heel is lined up with the arch of the back foot as we rise our way up into Warrior Two. Sink down deeply into that front leg. Take a few moments to settle into your Warrior Two, finding energy through the fingertips, that directional gaze out towards the front of the mat. Deep breaths in here, feeling into the challenge of holding this difficult pose. On your next inhale, slide the left hand down the left leg, reach the right fingertips up and over. And on your next exhale, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot and reach the left fingertips towards the front of the mat in our side angle. And then play around here with finding the bind around the leg, bringing the left hand behind, right hand underneath that leg, binding around the thigh. You might just grab a single fingertip onto one another, or you might clasp the hands, you might clasp the wrists. Whew, opening through the hips here. Whew. And then option to play around here with straightening that front leg. So here we are in a bound triangle here. Deep breaths in and out through the nose, sending the breath into those sensations. Now release the bind, reach the left hand towards the front of the mat, bring the right hand to join it, and hold here in your core triangle. Really, really firing up through the obliques here. And then come all the way up to standing, keeping the arms as they are, imagining like you're holding a big beach ball in the hands, and then sink your way back down into your warrior two. Inhale, find a reverse triangle, straightening the front leg, reaching the arm back, and then windmill your way forwards. Step the front foot to meet the back foot. That was a funny way of saying it. Landing in our plank. Work your way through a chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the left toes up to the sky. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap. One more time. Inhale, reach the toes high. Exhale, tap that elbow. Then bring the knee to the wrist, to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the nose. Step that foot through, spin the back heel down, and windmill your way up to a warrior two. Adjusting your stance, finding that nice stable foundation, pressing into the outer edge of that back foot, and stacking the head over the heart, over the hips. So notice whether you're leaning forwards or leaning back. Try and find that integrity in the spine in every single one of our poses. And notice how your mind reacts to the challenge of holding a difficult pose like this. Do you feel frustrated, or do you face the challenge with a positive mindset, reminding yourself that you can do this? Use your next inhale to come into reverse warrior, and your next exhale to land in side angle, finding a nice long line of energy all the way from the right fingertips to the right toes. And then maybe we find the bind here, reaching that right arm behind, left arm under, reaching those fingertips towards one another, but only taking the bind if you can still keep your chest nice and lifted. So if you collapse and round over, then just stay in the traditional side angle. Maybe we straighten that front leg into a bound triangle here. And then maybe we reach the right hand forwards, bring the left hand to meet it, hold our core triangle for just a moment. And then lift yourself up to standing, bring that beach ball with you, and then sink yourself back down into your warrior two. Inhale, straighten that leg, reverse triangle. Exhale, windmill your way around. Step the left foot to meet the right, I should say. Work your way through a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, maybe roll over the toes, stretching through the shins and the ankles, and then landing back in our downward facing dog. We're going to work through that flow again, adding some things on, but in between, let's play around with our balance again. Starting to slide the right hand down the mat, reaching it for the left ankle, and then pulling ourselves through into a twisty down dog. Then option to play around with hovering the right toes off the mat, maybe just a few centimetres. Maybe you reach them higher up towards the sky. And then place the right foot back down, unravel yourself, take it to the other side, reaching left hand for the right ankle, pulling yourself through into that twist. Then maybe start to hover the left toes off the mat, just an inch, maybe a foot, maybe a metre. And then drop them back down. Once again, land in your downward facing dog. Listen out for the change. We inhale, sweep the right toes high. Exhale, tap right knee to left elbow this time. Inhale, reach the toes up. Exhale, take it across. One more time. Inhale, toes up to the sky. Exhale, over to the elbow, down to the wrist, up to the left armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the nose. Step that foot through, in between the hands, spin the back heel down. Going a bit faster this time, we sink our way down into our warrior two. Inhale, find the reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle. Maybe we take the bind around that front leg. Maybe we straighten that leg. Now, option to play around here with keeping the bind and coming into a bound half moon. So lifting the left toes off the mat, bringing that leg parallel to the floor, finding length through both sides of the waist. Or you can just come into a traditional half moon, and if you fall out of either pose, that's totally cool. Just come and meet us back in wherever you fancy. Just playing around with that bind, totally optional. If you've got the bind, release it, come into a traditional half moon. Left fingertips reach up, right fingertips reach down. Maybe they hover off the mat for a little extra challenge. And then unwind yourself into a warrior three. So squaring off the hips, facing down to the floor. One long line from the crown of the head to the tip of the left toes. And then start to lower the chest down as you lift the leg up, landing in a standing splits with the left toes reaching up to the sky. Hands can be on the mat or around that right ankle for a little extra challenge. Finding the strength in the leg to lift it up towards the sky. And then option to play around with kicking up to handstand, giving it a few kicks. And landing with the right toes at the back of the mat in a plank, and maybe with the left leg hovering. So landing in a three-legged plank. Maybe you were successful, maybe not. Whatever happened there, we will all meet in a three-legged plank and then work our way through a three-legged chaturanga. Drop both toes to the mat, lift the chest, and then work your way back to a downward facing dog. Deep breath in and deep breath out before we move on to the other side. Inhale, sweep the left toes up. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap. One more time. Deep breath in, extend. Deep breath out, tap. Then take it down to the wrist, up to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the wrist, to the armpit, to the nose, and then step that foot through. Windmill your way up into a warrior two. Inhale, find the reverse. Exhale, side angle, and then play around with that bind. Maybe we straighten that front leg, and then maybe we play around with hopping our way into a bound half moon. This side might be more difficult than the other side. Totally normal, totally okay. Just take your time. Fall out of it as many times. Connect to your breath, connect to your body. Maybe you're in a traditional half moon right now. If you are, just stay there and we will all come to meet you in our half moon, finding length through both sides of the waist, so making sure we're not collapsing through that left side body. Maybe we hover the left hand off the mat for a little extra challenge. And then everyone spin your way around into a warrior three, hands at heart center, or reaching out in front if you have the space and you want the challenge. And then start to lower the chest down as you lift the right leg up to the sky into standing splits. Hands on the mat or around the ankle. Lift, lift, lift the right leg up to the sky, finding the strength in the legs. It looks like an easy pose, but standing split really gets my legs burning so much. Now, option to play around with kicking up into a handstand and landing with the left toes at the back of the mat, right toes lifting in a three-legged plank. We'll all meet here no matter what is going on, whatever happened, whether you fell, whether you were successful, and then we'll work our way through a three-legged chaturanga, bring both toes to the mat, roll our way back to a downward facing dog. Once again, deep breath in, and maybe we sigh it out through the mouth. Walk the hands in just a foot or two, come up onto the tippy toes, deep breath in to prepare, and then maybe use your exhale to swing yourself through to a seated position, finding the jump through. Maybe you were successful, maybe not, no shame either way. You can stay facing the front of the mat, or you can join me in turning sideways. Just depends on whether you have enough space to do what we're about to do. Just giving us a chance to catch our breath before we move on to our next little sequence. Come into lotus pose, bringing the feet onto the thighs. You can come into half lotus, or you can come into full lotus if that feels okay in your body, and only if it feels okay on your knees. If there's any pressure on the knees, just take half lotus or a cross-legged position. We'll bring the hands down onto the mat and then lift the hips, lift the knees to hover here in our scale pose. It's actually more difficult if you're not in full lotus, so you can try it from half lotus for even more of a challenge. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop yourself back down and switch sides. So if you're in half lotus, take that on the other side. If you're in full lotus, bring the opposite foot on top, bring the hands to the mat, engage the core, lift ourselves to hover. Holding here, feeling into those shakes, those wobbles. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was definitely counting fast that time because I was struggling. Release from whatever pose you were in. Extend the legs out wide into Upavista Konasana. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, take a side bend over to the left, reaching the right hand for the left foot. The left hand can be anywhere that feels comfortable. Inhale, come back up through centre. Exhale, take it over to the other side. Inhale, back up through centre. Now exhale, start to hinge forward, but don't come all the way down. Just find a hover a few inches above the mat. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale, hinge down, hover. Hinging from the hips here, so keep moving up and down, finding the strength in the hips and the spine here, and keeping a nice long spine. So we're not rounding through the spine, we're keeping a nice long line from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone. And if that means you don't come down as far, then that's totally cool. Take 2 more. Next time you come down to hover, hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way back up. If you turn to face the long edge of your mat, come back to face the front. Reach the fingertips out long, lift the feet to hover off the mat. Shins are parallel to the floor, boat pose. Inhale here, exhale, low boat. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Lift. Lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe straighten the legs in your boat. Maybe reach the arms up towards the sky. And then rock your way back. Launch yourself up, landing in a chair pose. Whatever happened, we'll all meet here in our chair, sinking down into the hips, finding the strength in the legs. And then maybe we come up onto the tiptoes, finding the balance. Release, straighten those legs, descend down into a fold. Give those legs a little pedal. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, plant both hands on the mat. Step the feet back to plank. Work your way through a chaturanga. Inhaling to lift the chest. Exhaling, back to downward facing dog. On to our next little flow. We inhale, sweep the right leg high. Exhale, right knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap. One more time. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap. Now this time we put that knee on the elbow. Bring the elbows onto the torso. Fly the back foot off the mat. Hurdlers pose. Play around in your hurdlers, giving it a few tries if you fall out. And then maybe we land back in a chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Now same leg. Inhale, sweep the right toes high. Exhale, step that foot straight through between the hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist to the right, reaching the left arm forward and the right arm back. Take an inhale here, then exhale, find the reverse warrior. Use your next breath in to sweep both arms up overhead. Then put all of your weight onto your right leg. Lift the left knee up and into the chest. Then straighten that left leg out in front of you into standing staff. Your leg might be down here or it might be up here. Really finding the strength in that leg as we lift it without the help of our hands. Now bring the hands down to grab hold of that left foot. Tuck that left foot into a standing half lotus. So if you look down, you should be able to see the sole of your foot pointing up towards the sky. I'm just hopping back because I don't have the space here. Option to reach the right arm up to the sky and to bring the left hand behind and grab hold of that left foot. So finding the bind here in our standing half lotus. If you've got the bind, release from it, reach both arms either up to the sky or bring them down to heart center as we lower our way down into balancing on the right toes. So come up onto the right toes, still with that foot in half lotus, finding the balance here. You can bring the hands down onto the mat for support. Keep them at heart center or reach them up overhead for even more of a challenge. Now everyone, with the hands at heart centre, as you bring the sole of the right foot down to the floor, oh my gosh, okay, maybe we keep the hands on the mat for this one. Start to bring the right foot down to the floor as you extend the left leg out in front, then lift the hands up, flex the left toes back towards your face, so we're in a kind of pistol squat situation here. And then swing that left leg behind, bring the hands to the mat, straighten the right leg, lift the left toes up all the way into a standing split. And then lift the hands off the mat, swing that left foot through, once again into our standing staff. Then bring the right hand to the outside edge of that left foot, left hand out behind. Here we are in our revolved big toe pose. You can also have that hand on the outside edge of the knee if that works for you. Once again, we're going to play around with our pistol squats, this time lowering down, keeping this bind on the foot. So lowering down, slowly, 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 finding the hover. We've still got the right hand on the left foot and the left bum hovering off the mat. Maybe the right hand reaches out behind. And once you've played around, let go, drop down, place that foot on the mat. Open the right knee out to the side. So we're facing the right edge of the mat. Right knee points to the back of the mat. Left toes point to the front of the mat. Bring the right hand behind the right hip. Press into that hand as you lift the hips off the mat. Lift the hips, lift the chest. And then drop yourself back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop it back down. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop it back down. Now inhale, spin yourself around. Plant the hands on the mat. The left toes on the mat. Draw the right knee in towards the nose. So we're in a plank facing the back of the mat with the right knee drawing in towards the nose. Step that right foot to meet the left. Work through a chaturanga, inhaling to up dog, exhaling to down dog. If you got totally confused there, we are in a downward facing dog, facing the back of the mat, and now we will work our way back round to the other side. So inhale, sweep the left toes high, exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, extend, exhale, tap. One more time, inhale, extend, exhale, tap, and maybe launch yourself into hurdless pose. Flying everything off the mat. Then maybe you land in a chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, exhale to down dog, then straight away, inhale, sweep the left toes up, exhale, step them through. Inhale, come into your crescent lunge, exhale, take it into the twist, and then make your way into a reverse warrior and find a full cycle of breath here. Use your next breath in to unwind back into your crescent lunge, and your next breath out to launch your way into a standing staff with the right toes reaching out in front. All of our weight on that left leg, finding the strength. Then we bring that right foot into half lotus, grabbing that right foot, looking down so we can see the sole of the right foot is pointing up towards the sky as that knee points down towards the earth. Then maybe we reach the left hand up to the sky and the right hand around and behind for that foot. Maybe you just reach for a single toe, finding the bind. Then either with the arms up or at heart centre, slowly, slowly, slowly lower yourself down into the toe balance. Half lotus toe balance, so we're balancing just on our left toes, either with the hands on the mat at heart centre or reaching up to the sky. As you can see, I am falling out everywhere, so if you are too, no shame, never any shame in falling. Bring the fingertips to the mat for support, lower that left heel to the mat, reach the right arm in front, and then lift the hands off in our pistol squat here. And swing that right leg out behind, fingertips on the mat, right toe sweep up to the sky, standing split. Then swing that foot all the way through, back to your staff, and then reach left hand for the outside of the right foot, come into our revolve big toe pose, straightening that leg, reaching through the right fingertips. Then maybe play around with lowering back into your pistol squat slowly with that bind. If you fall, no worries. As I keep saying, no shame in falling. Just never ever give up. Plonk yourself down on the mat, release that foot, open the hips out, once again facing the right side of the mat, but this time we've got the left knee bent and the right toes pointing up towards the sky. Bring the left hand behind the left hip. Inhale, lift everything up. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Then we inhale, lift. Plant both hands on the mat. Tuck under the back toes. Draw the left knee in towards the nose. Hold here. Step it back to plank. Work your way through a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath here. Now we get to do that one more time. Once again, switching up just a teeny little bit. And now we feel comfortable with where we're going and what we're doing. So we inhale, sweep the right toes up to the sky. Listen for the change. Tap that knee to the opposite elbow. Inhale, sweep it high. Exhale, tap it across. One more time. Reach those toes. Tap them across. Then this time launch into revolved hurdlers. So bringing the outside edge of that right leg onto the elbows. Lifting the left leg off the mat. Maybe straighten that right leg. And then make your way back via a chaturanga. Inhaling up dog, exhaling down dog. Straight away we inhale, lift the right leg again. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist. Inhale here. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, launch onto that leg. Extend the toes out in front. Bring that foot onto that thigh, finding the balance here. And then we reach the hand around for that foot, finding the bind. And then maybe we lower ourselves down, find the toe, find the toe balance. And then plonk ourselves down, unravel into a pistol squat with that leg reaching out in front. Then launch our way into standing split. Sweep the left toes up towards the mat, up towards the sky. And then sweep them through. Find the bind on that foot. Kick that leg out towards the side. Then lower yourself down into a bound pistol squat. That sounded very funny then. Plonk yourself down on the mat, open the right knee out to the side, lift the hips off the mat and lower back down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower, and then lift, plant the hands on the mat, draw the right knee into the nose, step it back to plank, work through a chaturanga to up dog and to downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the left toes up to the sky. Exhale, take them across. Inhale, sweep them up. Exhale, take them across. Inhale, up. Exhale, across. Find revolved hurdlers. Whoop. Maybe straighten that left leg. And then land in a chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Sweep those left toes straight up to the sky, step them through. Deep breath in, reach up, deep breath out, twist, take it into the reverse. Inhale, unwind, exhale, launch your way into standing staff. Come into standing half lotus and then lower yourself down into the toe balance. Make your way into a pistol squat, extending that right leg, and then fly up into standing splits. Sweep that leg up and through, reach the left hand for the outside of the right foot, kick your way open into this twist. Keep hold of that foot. Nearly forgot where we were going there. Lower yourself down into that bound, twisty pistol squat. Plonk yourself down, open the hips out, right toes up, left knee out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And then we lift, plant the hands on the mat, draw the left knee into the nose, step it back to plank, work through a chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Time to start slowing things down. Walk the hands in a few feet. Prepare yourself and maybe swing through to seated. Come down onto your back. Knees point up to the sky. Hands root down into the earth. Lift the hips up into your bridge pose and lower. Lift, lower, lift, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift and hold. Take some little baby pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Root down through the left foot. Lift the right toes to hover off the mat. Hold here. Place the right foot down. Lift the left toes off the mat. Hold. Bring the left foot back down. Option to stay in your bridge or to come down or play around with bringing the hands under the hips. So the fingertips wrap around the outside edges of the hips. You're supporting your sacrum in the palm of your hands. The upper arms are rooting down into the mat, and then maybe play around with lifting one foot at a time off the mat and reaching those toes up towards the sky. So it's kind of like legs up the wall, shoulder stand, bridge, all rolled into one. Reversing the effects of gravity on the blood flow in our legs. And then lower the legs back down, one at a time, back into your bridge. Release the hands, lower yourself back down, hug the knees into the chest, give yourself a big squeeze, feeling proud of what you have just done, whether you fell out of the poses, whether you pressed pause, whether you took a rest. Just being here, finding the time to move your body is the biggest achievement. Release the legs, extend yourself straight, and then, gracefully or not, simply roll your way over onto your belly, slide the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself into a tabletop position, and then draw the right knee in towards the right wrist, land in pigeon pose. So you might be facing the back of the mat or facing away from me, that's alright. We'll find some lift first before we lower down into our pigeon and hold here. We'll be holding our pigeon for a good few breaths. So take as much time as you need to move around, get comfy, settle in. Draw yourself back up as you draw the air into the lungs as you are ready. Root down through the hands, lift that knee back to your tabletop, give the hips a little wiggle around, and then bring the left knee into the left wrist. Bring that heel in towards the groin. Find a moment to lift the chest. And then descend down into your pigeon. Settling in, getting comfy. As you're ready, press back up, come into your tabletop, walk those hands out to the front of the mat, lower down onto the belly, and then once again, rolling onto your back as gracefully or as ungracefully as it goes. Hug the knees into the chest and then drop the knees over to whichever side and whichever version of a supine twist is calling to you today. So maybe eagle legs, maybe stacking the knees, maybe straightening both legs, straightening one leg. I'll give the option to play around with straightening the top leg and reaching for it with the arm on that side, and then bending in the bottom leg, reaching for that with the other hand. So it's like a bound, funky, twisty situation. As you're ready, unravel, come back through centre and take the same twist onto the other side. Settling in, letting go of any tension. Unravel as you are ready. Give those knees one final big squeeze in our Apanasana. Take any other moves that are calling to you before descending, landing in whatever version of Shavasana is calling to you today. Bracketing our practice with stillness at the start and stillness at the end. At the start, we were preparing our mind and body for our practice, and now we are preparing our mind and body for the rest of our day. Letting the benefits of our practice distribute throughout the entire body, the entire mind, the entire soul. If you feel like hanging out in your Shavasana for longer, you are very, very welcome to do so. I very much encourage you to do so. And if you are ready to move on, start to bring some gentle movement to the body, maybe wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe making circles, excuse me, with the ankles and the wrists, maybe taking a big, big stretch up overhead before slowly making your way back up to a comfortable seated position. We will seal our practice with a deep releasing breath in through the nose and make some noise as you sigh out through the mouth. Open the eyes if they are not already. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. And of course, thank you for all the teachers that came before me who enabled me to be here and teaching you all today. If you enjoyed this practice, I would be super duper massively grateful if you could subscribe to my channel so that we can practice together again in the future. Of course, you can also comment with any thoughts, requests or suggestions, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up so that I know that you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.